Hello and welcome to Dani Girl Art. I'm going to be tangling today with you, but I'm going to first prep my tile. And I'm going to keep it really simple, and I'm going to start with light colors in case you've never done this before, because tangling on top of light colors, it can be easier to see. And I'm using pan pastels. You could use any colors you want, any color medium that you would like to prep your tile. And when I say the word prep, I mean we're going to apply color to a white tile and then we'll tangle over it. So if you have Ecoline inks, the droplets or markers, or if you want to paint a tile, any way you can think of, say, a color, go for it. Or a color not your thing, you want to wait and fast forward to the part that we do our tangling and then just join in with that. So I'm sticking with two simple basic colors today. So I'm going to just untwist my pan pastels, and I'm using a yellow and an orange. And key to nice color mixing is looking at a color wheel and seeing if the colors are next to each other on the color wheel, and if they are, they're going to blend nicely for you on your paper. So I'm going to leave these on the side, and I have my work area covered. You could use newspaper, you could use paper towels, glass, a plastic mat, whatever you have that works for you. And I'm going to use these little makeup pads. It might be difficult to see, but one side of my makeup pad looks like it is meshed together better, and the other side is very fuzzy. I don't really want to use the fuzzy side because I want to wind up with a lot of fiber on my tile, and I want to try to stay away from that. So I'm using the smoother side. And by me, I live in New York, and I have a store called Stop and Shop, a grocery store, where I buy these Care One premium cotton squares from. So that's what I'm going to be using. This is not the only option. This is just a option. You can mix colors, you can blend colors separate outside of your container. I have been using pastels in different forms since high school, which was, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years ago now, 2 years ago. So I'm just more comfortable that I'm gonna mix right out of my containers. I don't like to have an extra step. So I'm gonna start the lighter color first, and for me, I just fold this in half. It's just easier for me, I have small hands. And I'm going to take some of this yellow, and I'm going to, using little circular motions, apply it to my tile. And I find with pan pastels, it's kind of like using eyeshadow, that I tend to stick to using the center part, and then I have high walls on the side, so I try to make an effort to use the side as well. So I'm just going to apply this in some areas, and I'm going to take the other side of this pad, and I'm going to put some orange on. I'm going to go into my areas that are white, and I try not to overthink this, just have fun and play. And then I'm going to take a little bit more yellow, and you can see I have some white spots where these are next to each other, and I'm just going to overlap with the yellow in little tiny circular motions and start to blend this. So I already feel like this looks very pretty, and you could just leave it like this if you wanted to, but I'm going to add another layer. But before I add another layer, I'm going to spray it with some workable fixative, and I'm going to pause this and go outside and do this because I have pets and I don't want them to breathe it in. But this is for pastels and Krylon. There's so many different brands. There's other brands that don't smell that you can spray in your house, which are good. I've just been using Krylon since the 90s, and I do like their products. So that's why I'm using this. So I'm gonna spray my tile, read the directions on the back of the fixative that you're using, make sure it says workable, and I'll be right back. So make sure your tile is fully dry, just by giving it time to dry on its own, or by using a hair dryer if you'd like. I usually prep a lot of tiles at the same time, so if I'm doing 10 tiles, then by the time I'm done with my 10th one, then my first one is dry, so it kind of works out good. So this is beautiful. You could leave it like this. I'm gonna, and if I run my finger over it, I'm not getting any chalk or pastel on my finger from this, which is nice. So again, I've been an artist. I am an art teacher for 23 years and my high school art teachers were more like college professors. So I've been doing art for a long time. So some things I'm a little bit more comfortable with than maybe if your first art experience is with Zentangle. So you need to do what's comfortable for you. You don't need to do what I'm doing. So if you want to take a new pad, for example, and you want to start with a clean one, go for it. I don't really get so nervous about messing up my colors because for the most part, they're going to wipe off. It's not like I'm going into a white pan pastel right now. So I'm just going to continue using this one. But again, you have to do what you are comfortable with. And I hope that as you do this, you start to experiment and do something different than me and come up with a different idea. So, and I hope that you can inspire then somebody else to come up with an idea. That's always one of the best things about art. So I put another layer on and it's starting to get a little bit brighter and I absolutely love it. I'm going to go in and don't worry about like, oh, I'm going to use so much of these pan pastels up. I'm going to run out right away because I don't know how you are, but I am an art supply hoarder and I get nervous. I haven't even started using something. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost gone. I'm like, are you crazy, Dani? You haven't even started using it yet. So don't feel that way. These little containers, I've been using them for so long now and so frequently, and I haven't even made a dent in them. So, okay, this looks pretty stripy. I built up my colors. I'm just gonna take my orange side again and where they meet, little circular motions, start smoothing them out. And don't go crazy. Like if something looks a little weird or off and you're like, oh, I don't like that area, remember you're tangling over it. So it's all gonna work itself out. Okay, I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to just screw my caps back on, and that's my only thing that I'm not really happy with these products is that I don't feel like they close that well. I gotta kind of finagle and play around with them. Okay, so before I start tangling, I'm gonna put one more coat of workable fixative on this. So I'll be back. So I like to tangle with maybe something a little bolder, like a graphic one or a PN on these tiles, especially if the tile is darker. You can go for an 05. You can use an Identi pen. So, you know, see what it is that you like and use that for your tangling. I'm grabbing a Identi pen off camera right now because I feel like a lot of people have those. If you don't, that's fine. This is what an Identi pen looks like, and it has a very thick side, and then it has a finer pen-like side. So, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna use the Identi pen today. I always change how I'm feeling. It really depends on my mood. So I've picked out Ayame as my tangle today. And this is such a beautiful flowy organic tangle, which I tend to lean more towards organic tangles. And it's by Miku Kaneko. And this is just so beautiful. Thank you for creating it for the tangle world because it just is so beautiful. So I'm gonna start wherever you want. This is kind of gonna be like a backwards S. I'm gonna start from here and I'm going to make a big line coming up, and you can see this really goes nice and smooth over my tile, and I'm going to follow it back around the other way and come in. And I'm gonna make 3 of these total by turning my tile, my tangle on my tile, and coming back around. So that one I made a little pointier than I would have liked. It's this weird thing when you're teaching that you slow down how you draw and you're talking at the same time. So sometimes things don't always come out how they would if you were just zenfully drawing on your own. Okay, so we're gonna add some layers, some other, I guess I'll call them like leaves or petals behind these. So I'm gonna take one of these big ones. I'm gonna start from the center, and I'm going to come up and curve around. And I'm gonna do a second one. And then I think my third one, I'll have, excuse me, just bump into the side there. I'll do that on each one. So this might be your first time tangling, it might be your 100th or 1000th time tangling, and I really just suggest that you go with it and have fun, and don't worry if you make what you think is a mistake. There are no mistakes with this. Just keep going, don't start over. Things will work out, see what happens. And there are so many videos up online that you should take a look at, and there are thousands of pan pastel videos out there to look at. And there are tons of Zentangle videos, and you should take Zentangle classes with as many teachers as you can, because everyone has different teaching styles. So, you know, see what you like. Of course, I hope you come back to me, because I do enjoy this so much. For those of you maybe that are just tangling for the first time with me, like I said, I've been teaching public school art for over 23 years. So I'm quite seasoned in the art fields. And Zentangle has been in my life for quite a few years now, and has just offered me such a great deal of comfort. And I definitely am a high anxiety person. I have no problem sharing that with people, and in hopes that they can open up about their anxieties. And this really has helped, and I am so grateful for it. So I'm just going in and adding another one. You know, find a spot that maybe you're comfortable with adding another one. Maybe you don't have a spot. Maybe you just want to focus on one here, and that's great. Then do that. So maybe I could put another one there if I wanted to, but I'm just kind of giving myself a moment, and I'm looking at it to see, do I want to do that? Do I want to add something else in? And I'm going to give myself a few moments to reflect on what I have so far. And that's why it's really important to keep turning your tile and looking at it and seeing what you want to do. Maybe you want to add some orbs in. I'm thinking maybe some fescue or damsel leaf. Fescue is a headquarters tangle, and Damsel Leaf is by Annette Rumpler. Oh my gosh, this is not the sweetest thing you've ever seen. One of my students introduced it to me recently, and I am hooked. I feel like I've been putting it in every single tangle I've made since she showed it to me. You know who you are. Thank you so much if you're watching this. So, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with some of these cute little damsel leaves, because what great darkness there is there. That's gonna add a lot of nice contrast. So wherever you wanna start, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna come around, add a little teardrop shape, and loop back up and make like a little ladybug half circle. And I'm going to fill that in, and I could switch to the other side of my Identi pen if I want to, and go in and just fill that in, the bigger space. I'm more comfortable going back to the small one with this little piece. And then coming from that little droplet section, I'm going to aura, leaving a space, and curve around, but then get narrow. Kind of like a weird little flux, because it doesn't come to a point at the bottom, so I wouldn't actually call it a flux, but flux family, cousin of a flux maybe. Pretty, I like that. All right, so that's really some nice drama in there. I'm gonna add another one. Maybe this time I'm gonna loop around this way. Fill it in. And And tanglepatterns.com is a great resource to look up different tangle step outs. So maybe you're not, maybe you made your tile and now you're maybe you're not using the same patterns as me. That's fine, as long as you're having fun. Whatever you're doing today, if you're finding relaxation and fun, that's what's important. Oh, so sweet. So I don't know, I just love them so much. I think I'm gonna add a few more. I have a little bit more space. I don't know, maybe I'll add just a few fescue. Let's see, I'm gonna add a fescue just coming off here. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. All right, and you can see I keep turning it, not to make you dizzy, but for myself, just to see, okay, where do I want to go back in? And I'm looking, if I have a really big area and it doesn't feel balanced, my paper, and what I mean by balance is there's a lot of drawing on one side and not the other side, and something just feels like maybe a little off, then I'm going to aim to fill in the emptier spaces. Okay, and I like the threes though here. I don't know, I might just leave it. I can always go back. There's no rule that says once you put that pen down you need to be completely done. That is not so at all. So now I'm gonna add a fescue. But again, like I said, we can always go back in with more. I might just do that. Okay, so I'm gonna get some more supplies for us, and I will be right back. So I'm taking out some pencil pastels now. I love this brand. They are absolutely beautiful. My tin though did come quite smashed up when I ordered them, so I have them taped. But they are really, really beautiful. They blend really nice. They're a little thicker than I would like. If I had an option in a perfect world, I would have them just slightly thinner, but they are quite beautiful. So we could do this one of many ways. So again, how I am doing this is not the end all right? So this is, because I'm adding color this way, it is not the only way. So I am actually going to look for my darkest color in here, which is this orange. And then in my pastels, I'm going to try to find something just a little bit darker than that, okay? So I'm hoping that this orange here is going to, it's pastel 040. I'm hoping that it's going to be dark enough, but we're gonna find out together right now because we're kind of just playing along. So I have a little tin that has little Q-tips for blending, but also I have different tortillons that have different colors on them. So I just keep those separate from the ones I use for my graphite. All right, so let's see what happens. Here I would have a shadow. So I'm going to take this pastel and add a little bit, and I think it's gonna be really nice. Let's see. Oh, let me just wipe that on the side a little more. Definitely had some pink on there, but that's all good. Go back into there. All right, so that looks nice. It's creating a little bit of a shadow. And I think I'll continue with that over here. And because there's a lot of yellow here, this is working well. You could perhaps take a red if you're in a really dark area. So even like up here, this orange is not really showing as much. So I'm gonna step it up a notch and go to a red next, because red is next to orange on the color wheel. And I know you really should never blow your pastels, but I am in an area where I'm in my art studio. It's a mess. There's no such thing as a clean art studio, but if you're at your kitchen table or in your bedroom at a vanity, because I've been there, I've had to do that before my studio was done being built. You're not blowing pastels around. Maybe you're not even in the house. Maybe you're outside even. So I'm going to continue going around and adding some of this beautiful, beautiful pastel. I remember how I said before we might want to pick up our pens again. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'll show you why in a minute. And notice and acknowledge that you might start to get your black lines a little bit foggy. Don't worry about that right now. We're going to take care of that later. Forget who first introduced me to these pastels. I think it was Annika from Zentangle. She used these pencils in a class. I believe it was her, so thank you, Annika, because I'm sure you tried out so many different ones. I'm not a huge fan of, I like the generals for certain things. If I'm tinting a paper, I think they're fantastic, but these really are excellent quality. I really enjoy these a lot. All right, so I'm also going to go around. This petal is blocking, so I'm going to go around here. Wasn't even purposely doing this, but fall is coming up and this is feeling very fall-like. Where I live today is a perfectly gorgeous day. If every day of the year could be like it is today, I think people would just be so much happier walking around happy. It really just is gorgeous out. It's good for your mental health. These types of gorgeous days. You could really just wear shorts, wear pants, go to the beach, or sit outside, go for a walk. There's no humidity. New York always seems to be humid, and there is not a single bit of humidity today. It's perfect. Which means, of course, when I am done with this video, I will be outside enjoying that beautiful weather. But people have been requesting more videos, and you know, as I have more followers, I'll start taking more requests. So you know, let me know if you have any requests. So even so here's orange. If I wanted to take yellow, because this is fixed now, and what I mean by fixed is that I've sprayed it, so I can go in and now add other colors. And if I add this yellow over it, you're gonna be able to see it even though it's orange underneath it, because it's like a layer that fixative is blocking it. So if I want to add a little highlight like that, I can. Now, I don't know if I'm going to completely ruin this, but we're going to try it on my tile. If you want to add a shadow around the outside, and I do this occasionally, you can take a black pastel. Oh my gosh, you have to press so lightly with this though. So I'm going to take out a different tortillon from my container here and put that orange one back in so that I don't mix it up. But let me just show you what I mean. When I say little, I am like barely even putting a little scratch mark on this. See that? It is just so faint. Then I can take this and go in and add. You may not want to have this dramatic dark shadow around. You could have just left it how it was, this tile. I just want to give you options. So just because I'm doing everything on here does not mean that that is what you have to do. And maybe you're just going to go into certain areas. I mean, when I say minimal, it's like taking a feather and just tickling the surface of this tile. It's really barely anything. Maybe even what you want to do is, this would work better on paper, but if you scribbled a little black on paper and then put your tortillon in it and just use your tortillon to go around, you could do that too. Again, I'm comfortable enough that I feel I can just be super light and go around. And I'm not doing every single spot. You certainly can. I'm kind of just adding little bits and pieces. I'm not completely sure. I'm going to go back into this because this was really a light area. Sorry, my camera is shaking a little bit. So again, you see, and now I feel like all our tiles, I tell my 8th grade students I teach daily, you know, like we're gonna go through an ugly stage here. That's fine. You're gonna get that beauty back. So don't worry. And one of the other big things that people are a little, you know, apprehensive about to begin with is that they create these beautiful tiles. They use watercolors. They use magicals, whatever it may be. Oh my gosh, and the tiles are so beautiful, and then nobody wants to tangle over them. But, and it's hard. It's really hard sometimes. But, you know, somehow dig deep and try to get past that. And because you might be covering up something that's beautiful, but you might have an opportunity to make something that's even more beautiful. So take chances, take risks with this. These tiles are so small. You can do it again if you're not happy at the end. Save your tiles too that you're not happy with. This also probably, instead of a black, you could have used like a Senia color, burnt Senia, that looks like this. This one's number 007. That brown color, it's like a reddish brown, would have been a nice option also to go in the background. But I think this is going to look nice once I tie this all together at the end, and you'll see in a little bit what I mean by that. So I'm just finishing this up. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. And what I'm going to do now, I added more pastel, so I am going to go back to my workable fixative, and I am going to go in, or outside, I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to spray one more layer of fixative on this tile so that this new layer of pastel does not smudge on me. All right, so welcome back. I've sprayed this. If I rub my fingers across it, nothing is coming up. My hands are a little stained, but that was from earlier. And I'm going to now go back to my pens. So whatever you were using, take out, and I'm going to take out a pen as well. So on the 3 center sections that we first started with Ayame, I'm going to add a little detail, and I'm going to add some auras coming around like so. And you could start in the center and then work your way around also. I don't know, I feel like I change things up every now and then. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So that's giving us a little bit more detail. So if I follow the center line down like that, that can be a good spot for you to start. Now your pens shouldn't be clogging. If your pens are clogging, then you probably did not spray enough of that fixative on it. Unless you have an old pen, maybe that could even be the issue. Sometimes we will blame it on something and then realize, oh, well, this pen's been open for months. And I date my pens, so this one has been open for months. Doesn't mean I haven't had another pen open, though. This one I opened July 3rd, but I probably have like a dozen pens opened. But this just goes to show I'm not using a pen that's brand new even. So my Identity pen was brand new. That one was, I just took out for you guys. All right, so I'm going to do this main one as well. And I have a Facebook page, Dani Girl
Art, DANIGIRL, Art, ART. And I hope that if you enjoy this video that you tag me at Dani Girl Art, and that you share with me with what you created, post it on where I'm going to list this YouTube on my wall on Facebook. Brings me such happiness sharing things. And I have classes every Tuesday nights, and I have paid classes, but I do like to do free classes every now and then, because it's not always an option for everybody to always be spending money. All right, so I like this. The other thing I'm thinking about doing is a little bit of rounding in these pieces. So I'm just like in the valley where it's making a V, I'm adding a little curve, and then I'm inking in. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because those damsel leaves and the fescue are very dark. It's a nice, gorgeous contrast. But I really don't have anything else dark in this tangle, which is quite unusual for me, to be honest. I do like drama. So just by adding in these little bits of rounding in here, it's giving us a little bit more balance between those dark sections that are running along the outside and the sections that we're creating in the inside. So I'm going around doing these. You can also add other type of patterns onto the Ayame if you'd like to. I actually think I might. I'm gonna finish this and then take a look at my tile. Now, if I was working by myself, from time to time, I would be taking my tile and holding it in front of me at arm's length just to see how everything's going. This is also a good time that if you went over something and your lines are no longer a really nice black because your pastel covered something up, so this would be a good time for you to just very carefully go back over those lines. So not those new center lines we did, because that we did since the pastel, so you don't have to worry about going over those. But where these sections, I did get some pastel on it because I knew I was going to be coming back and going over it, so I wasn't too stressed about perfection, because that's not what this is about anyway, right? Of course, it's always nice to have something pretty at the end, but everyone's idea of what is aesthetically pleasing is different, so that's why the journey really is important. Oh, I like it. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. Now, what was I was thinking, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. So I think just on these center ones here, in the center, I'm gonna add a little baby fescue. I don't know, maybe I'll do it on all of them, but I'm gonna start with the center. Just a little extra something. And I feel pretty good with this. You could add some orbs if you want to, but I feel pretty satisfied. So I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to stop. You may have noticed I was just spinning it around because I'm trying to see which way I want to hold this. And I am undecided. I wonder what you guys are thinking. I wish I could actually be live and speaking with you guys. I'm going to do it this way. So I'm adding my chop and going to flip it over, sign, and we're still in September. Oh my gosh, September 2021. And I'm just going to write, I like to write YouTube, like what I did this for. And I'm going to write Ayame on here. And damsel leaf, oops, that's not damsel. Let's try that again. Damsel leaf and fescue. All right, I really hope that you had a great time. Again, my Facebook page is Dani Girl Art, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. And I can't wait to see your tiles. I'm really looking forward to it.